pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sim Racing Media. Tonight at Phoenix, Tonight we are here with the GUNR4sR Racing Series. We like to call them GUNR4sR, but that's just the sim racing media way. We're here for the championship race at Phoenix. Joining me tonight is going to be Matt Metler. He was with me last night. We're here for an outstanding race. We're going to have 4 drivers are going for the championship. We've enjoyed working with this crew. Under the lights here tonight at Phoenix, your championship 4 tonight: Nick Snyder, Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert, Mike Aiello Jr. I probably got that wrong right there. Qualifying has just started following the number 77 machine currently. That is Mike Aiello Jr. Hopefully I didn't get it wrong. This will be my first time on the series, hoping to bring an amazing championship finish. Top of the board right now belongs to Brad Lane, another one of the championship contenders. Jordan Tansel, second currently on the board. Kyle Wiggins, third. Times looking around 27.3, 27.4, 27.5. We can go ahead and talk about the race information for this one. This is the Championship 4 race at Phoenix. Outside air temperature is 81 degrees. The track temperature is 82 degrees. But as you can see, we are under the lights this evening. In just a couple minutes, we're going to try to talk to the Championship 4. We got a second longer here until it's time to get this race under green. Still waiting for a couple more drivers to finish qualifying. Chris Gilbert getting ready to go out on track. 2.5 minutes left remaining for qualifying. Brad Lane's already made his stop, so I'm going to go ahead and try to bring him in and get his thoughts going into this one. Hi, Brad. Jonathan in the booth. How do you have me? Or how do you hear? Okay. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have Brad at this time. Surprised about what happened right there. Joining us now in the booth is Matt Metler. Matt, it's going to be an awesome night here. It's going to be dark. The track's going to be kind of cool. We're going to make tons of grip here at Phoenix. I know this is your first time on this show, the same as me, but Phoenix always puts on a great race, and we got a battle for the championship. I hope you're looking forward to an exciting show.
Absolutely, Jonathan. You're right. It all comes down to this: Phoenix under the lights. These guys and teams have worked hard so season long. You got 4 contenders. Play it out on the line here tonight. Don't hold anything back, and we will crown a champion when the checkered flag flies. I'm certainly fired up and looking forward to calling this one with you.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting show. Waiting for a couple more minutes here for the end of qualifying, and then we're going to be able to get this one underway. Now, just a little bit of race information. Stage 1 is going to end on lap 40. After that, it's going to be a shoot to the finish. We're expecting to see at least one round of green flag pit stops going through the second stage.
So if I got you right there, Jonathan, we're going to have one stage break that's going to be at 40 laps, projecting one round of pit stops. That's going to make it a little interesting there, play the chess pieces, especially if those pit stops, well, again, we're stage racing, so I take that back. Everyone should probably come down at the break, come down pit road, put 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods on it, and then battle it out for the championship from there.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm expecting myself on this one. Is we're gonna see a little bit of staying out of trouble early. Then after that second stage, that's when things are really gonna heat up. And look at this. This is odd. I wish I knew this was gonna happen. Qualifying went into the night, but if you look here, we're back to a daytime track. This is unexpected.
Wow. Very unexpected, and I'm not sure they intentionally set it up like that, or maybe they did for more of a wild card factor. But yeah, we're back broad daylight here out in the desert.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't know this was going to happen. I apologize, folks. Miscommunication between myself and the league here. But this is going to change everything. Outside air temperature is a little bit cooler at 78 degrees with the sun out, but the track temperature has increased 8 degrees to now 90. So the track length here is going to be 1.01 miles. What I'm looking forward to seeing is who's going to try to cut the dog leg just after the start-finish line. That's going to be rather exciting. Since we've started the grid now, it's going to be about the best time to go ahead and put that information up. Championship 4 driver Brad Lane is on the pole. Outside pole is Jordan Tansel. Row number 2 is going to be Kyle Wiggins and Glenn Stanley. Row 3, 2 Championship 4 drivers, Mike Aiello and Nicholas Snyder. Row number 4, Rick Reimuller and Daniel Carter. Starting 9th is Chris Gilbert. The final driver in the Championship 4, Travis Bennett. Starting 11th, Eric Scherer, Reggie Packard. And I apologize on the names, guys. Starting 13th is going to be Michael Logston. Looking forward to a good one here. These drivers are going to start moving in just a minute.
Yeah, one thing that I'm kind of surprised by, Jonathan, is only the top 5 really seemed to qualify and elected to put a lap down.
Yeah, and you know, that is awfully odd when you think about it. I'm going to try to put those results up right here. Hey, you see that right here? The top 5 are the only drivers that put a lap down, and you can see the differences from Brad Lane. Almost a full second difference from Brad Lane to the 5th place car. I'm sure we're going to find out as this one goes on maybe why that is, or if these drivers were intentionally wanting to stay more towards the back for this one.
Well, that could just, be it right there. That would be my initial thought. They wanted to stay out of harm's way, make sure they're around late in the race. I mean, it is going for the championship. This is what everyone works so hard for all season. So why not want to take advantage of starting in the back early if you feel you got the car that can, drive up to the front, that is.
Yeah, most definitely. Anyway, already see the pace car coming down. These drivers are getting ready. I'm going to try to do my best Tony Trapasso impression here. These drivers are got to cinch the belts tight, make sure the visor's down, and prepare themselves for a heated battle here at Phoenix. In just a moment, the number 10, Brad Lane, is going to be on the money. Here he is, full throttle, coming down. Race fans, it's showtime! Coming into the dogleg, Brad Lane already about a car length over the number 63 Ally machine of Jordan Tansel, Matt.
That's right, Brad Lane, your pole sitter, wasted no time making good use of that dog leg as he rockets out to the front of the field. Charging hard behind him, the 63 machine of Jonathan Tansel, rocking the Ally Alex Bowman colors. He's going to paint a bead on the back of that race car as we've almost completed one lap here already. Jonathan, as I come back to you at the start-finish line.
Yeah, we're already seeing drivers think about cheating the dog leg right there as you see 2 drivers go down low on that apron trying to take the short way around at this track, which is significantly shorter, but it does tend to upset the way the car drives. And when you tend to do that too much, you risk a little bit of damage, you risk bottoming out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see somebody get loose trying to make that work later as this race goes on. Back in the pack, Eric Scherer, number 22, passing a few cars using the dog leg. Right now is going to slide up in front of Daniel Carter coming into turn number 3.
Jonathan, if I may, I want to come back to that dog leg. So not only does it put that abuse on the car, it's also harder on the tires. You have absolutely zero banking down there on that dog leg. You have that abrupt transition back onto the racetrack. And as I'm looking at the time here, it's only 2 p.m. out here in the desert. So that track's going to get hotter. That tire wear is going to go up as that track gets slicker. Oh, we have one car spinning towards the inside wall. 29.
Yeah, I think that was Reggie Packard, the number 29 machine. We're going to try to see what happened real quick. But I don't really see much information. Here we go. This might be it. No, it's number 92. 32 up by the wall. 22 goes down low. I'm not sure.
Sure what happened here. I mean, the corner entry seems okay. Is he going to push up the racetrack maybe and get into the 13? He's definitely got some damage on that driver's side fender. The tire seems to be not rotating, so he's going to have a broken spindle at minimum on that race car. That's going to be a lengthy repair.
Yeah, unfortunate for number 29, Reggie Packard. Sorry that we weren't able to see the actual damage and what occurred there. We're going to keep this one going. Back out front, Brad Lane's leading by about a half of a car over Jordan Tanzel. On the move is number 77, Championship 4 contender, Mike Aiello Jr., up to 4th now, up 1 position. Nicholas Snyder still where he started in 6th place. Chris Gilbert up 2 spots from 9th to 7th.
Yeah, and like you said earlier in the broadcast, Jonathan, this first stage of the race, everyone knows they got to get to lap 40. There's going to be a caution. So I would expect these drivers to be content where they're running, especially if you're inside the top 5, top 6. Don't look for anyone to take too big of a chance because, well, we're going to have that caution break.
And just
right now, everyone seems to be single file out there on the racetrack. That 35 car seems to be testing that high line out there early, though.
Well, something about Phoenix, and I can't speak for the next-gen machine. I can speak for the 6th-gen machine. You can almost run 2 lines. You could kind of run the wall line up into the corner. You don't go closer to the wall, as you can see the kind of indent going down the front stretch and the back stretch going into turn number 1. But you run up as close to the wall as possible. Kind of take a high arcing approach, turn down low. Or you can start low, kind of diamond the corner, go to the middle, a little high, and then exit low also. I'm not really seeing a bunch of that right here, but perhaps that was what that driver was trying. We see a bit of a pass going on here. Number 5 trying to pass number 3. That's Nicholas Snyder, Championship 4 contender, passing Glenn Stanley.
And as you saw, the number 3 did not contest that position at all whatsoever. That's some smart heads-up drive it. Save your equipment for later in the race. Gives the position to the 5 car as he's going to keep charging forward here, see if he can put the 77 machine under pressure here in the next upcoming couple laps or so. But outside of that, I believe we're pretty much single file. Going back up front, the 10 machine of Brad Lane still has a lead over Jordan Tanzel right now in that 63 Ally car. Really hasn't opened up the gap very much at all. He's pretty much just right there with him. If he makes a wiggle or a little bit of a mistake on corner entry, maybe he'll decide to contest for that position. But right now, I gotta believe that 63 car is pretty content with where he's running, especially as we're only working lap 11.
I would imagine that myself, and he's almost running the exact same line that the number 10 at Brad Lane is, and at this point, he's the only driver that can match his lap times. Really, everybody else is about a 1/10 of a second slower, maybe with the exception of the 3rd place car, Kyle Wiggins. I'm seeing about a 1/10 to 2/10 slower for each lap. So Brad Lane showing early that he's going to be one of the drivers to beat, as well as Jordan Tanzel. I'm not going to count Kyle Wiggins or Mike Aiello Jr., maybe Nicholas Snyder out of this one yet. We're going to be right back. We're going to take our first break. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, SRM welcomes you back here to the championship round here at Phoenix International Raceway, where we find ourselves mired under the first caution of the day. While we were away on a race break, looked like the 22 of Eric Schneer just got a victim of that loud pedal. Was down there kind of on that yellow line, had the left side tires on the flat, and it started to pick up the throttle maybe a little sooner than what he wanted to. The back of the car got light, thought he had it, overcorrected, and ended up ping-ponging it off the back straightaway. Looking like he has some pretty moderate damage to the vehicle, but I do see all four tires still rotating on that race car. I can guarantee you the toe is definitely knocked out of it. Oh, that's a different angle there that I did not see. It looks like the damage is a little worse. He could be done for the day. Another guy with trouble early in the championship round that probably didn't expect to see that this early in the race. Again, we are under caution on the racetrack as the 22 Aflac Ford is on pit road, getting some service done to that race car. Gonna put 4 brand new Goodyear Eagles on it, and we'll see if he gets put on the damage clock, which I imagine he would be. I mean, the nose of that race car and the fenders are pretty well dented up and caved in. Yeah, take a look at the left side of that vehicle. That Ford Mustang definitely has some damage around the fender flares there. That's going to definitely cause some aero issues on the race car. So hopefully they can get some quick work made of that car, as we're currently under caution here again at Phoenix International Raceway. Your current leader, 10 of Brad Lane. He's going to start taking them down pit road as the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car continues to circle the racetrack. Going by the start-finish line. And here we come. Here come the boys down pit road. Oh, maybe trying to fake him out just a little bit. And you know what? While we got the time to talk about it, we know that there's that lap 40 stage break, but some of these guys may want to gamble a little bit, maybe come in a lap or two sooner, put some fresh tires on that race car, gain some track position, especially if they feel like they don't have the speed to hang with the 10 or the 63. So some food for thought there, as we're currently still under pace speed out here on the racetrack. Pace car is going to make that hard left turn down pit road, though. And we're going to stack them and rack them here 2 by 2. And the leader, Brad Lane, he's going to get ready here to take the command. He's got the loud pedal in the Geico restart zone, and he is back on the gas, and he's going to slam it, grab a gear, and he is launching off, going down, making perfect use of that dog leg wall. A couple guys going really excessively hard down to the dog leg. The 51 machine, he's going to maybe take a peek inside the 63 of Jordan Tanzel. He's fighting hard on the inside of that race car, that racetrack. He wants that position. Let's see if he can actually go ahead and clear the spot. Nope, he's going to back off just a little bit. 77 down on the inside of the 51. The 51's going to give him plenty of room out there as we're almost 3 wide. The 05 machine thought about it, had better judgment, decided to back out of there.
And you know, Matt, I think this all started with the 51 because he tried to cut the corner too soon. He went down and just kind of stopped his forward momentum, put him in position to really lose a couple spots, and I think he's rather lucky hanging on to third here, as he's got Nicholas Snyder there, the number 5 machine, another championship 4 contender. You know he's trying to get back up front as he really cuts the dog leg, trying to take the short way across right here. It's going to make up a little bit of ground here. And, you know, I think early, when you have fresh-ish tires, I'm not going to say they're fresh anymore, 22 laps, but if you had 30, 40 laps on your tires, I'm not so sure taking that way around the track is going to work, because you got the balance of the car upset. Then you got to hurry and crank the wheel back to the left as you're getting ready to come into the corner. Old tires may not allow him to do what he just did, as he's real loose right here. He's going to go around.
Oh, man.
On the brakes hard, stay off the wall, no contact.
Oh, man, you saw that driver working so hard in that race car, hooking right, hooking left, doing everything he can, and he happened to glance that inside retaining wall. Trouble finds Nick Snyder out there on the racetrack. Oh, hopefully that's not going to ruin his day. He's definitely going to have some damage. Taking a look at the race car, I see all 4 tires moving. Let's see what went wrong there, Jonathan.
And it almost looks like his wheel stopped working. I normally don't back it up this way, but this is the best way to get a good angle right here because we're still racing.
Yeah, it was a very uncharacteristic move of the race car there. He's down on the line. Did he just lose it coming out the corner? Let's go in on board. Perfect. We can see here from inside the cockpit. He's down on the line. Yeah, that car just got light on him. Steering wheel's moving. He still has wheel movement. I think the car just got, for whatever reason, that car just got super light in the back, and he broke traction, and around he went.
Yeah, I'm thinking he got on the throttle a little bit too fast. You put him back to 9th now. 8 seconds behind the lead? Really not that bad considering how long he had the brakes locked up and made contact with that inner wall. We do have a new leader now.
We do have a new leader up front as we were covering that spin. Glenn Staley, the 3 machine, out in front, carrying the torch, showing the way. His first lead of the day here at Phoenix, and he has opened it up to, wow, over 7 tenths of a second. That he just decided, I guess, to hit the afterburners and see you guys later.
Yeah, he's got about an 8, maybe 9 car gap over Final Four driver Brad Lane, who backed up right behind him. You've got Jordan Tansel, Daniel Carter, and a little further back, Kyle Wiggins, closest competitor. He's also in the Final Four. So running order for the Final Four is Brad Lane, Kyle Wiggins, Mike Aiello Jr., Nicholas Snyder back in 8th. Nicholas is just trying to try to get to that. He just wants to get to the stage end. 12 laps to go here. Get some new tires on it. Maybe fix a little bit of damage. Probably going to start more towards the back on this run because he needs to make sure he's got a clean car. I think he's going to be able to live to fight another day on this one. He's going to have about 70 laps. Still 65, 70 laps. And he's still having trouble again right there.
Oh my God,
man.
That is just disastrous. Oh, that's not what the 5 team wanted to see out of that race car. And I was just going to say, Jonathan, if I'm that spotter, that crew chief, I'm in there trying to settle that driver down because you know his boiling point is going to be through the roof that he made that mistake. I was going to say, tell that driver, calm down, take your time. There's a stage break coming. Let's try to minimize damage and not cause any more unwanted circumstances to unfold on the racetrack. And that's unfortunately what happened. Now he's got damage on both sides of that race car. Still looks like he's rolling okay. I'm not seeing any.
He's quite a bit slower than the leaders.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I was gonna.
About a second and a quarter slower than the leaders. I think that damage, that second hit right there, that's going to cause some trouble. Glenn Stanley just ran a 28.20, and Snyder did a 29.71. And Brad Lane, highest running order right now, or highest running championship 4 driver, he's also still in the 28s. So that damage really hurted Nicholas Snyder right here. And it's not like he can pit. Yeah, and it's not like he can pit right now and then pit prior to the stage because he'll have to stay in and fix damage. So that's not going to work for him. He's going to have to do it under the stage, fix as much as he can. He's going to probably start in the back and see what he can do.
But right now, he just needs to catch his breath and get back into that rhythmic pace around the racetracks. Hit your marks. You're not going to be in jeopardy of going a lap down yet. You just got to go out there and maintain just an okay pace to make it to that stage break and bring it down pit road and go to work on that race car. But the last thing that team needs right now is another date with the wall because that's pretty much game over if you ask me.
Yeah, if he touches the wall again or really has any more trouble at this point, that's going to be a night ender. Reggie Packard from earlier, he's no longer in the race. Number 22 machine, Eric Schuer, he's no longer in the race. Or he's in the race, but he's on pit road. He's been on pit road now for 9 minutes and 24 seconds. Severe damage, trying to get that fixed to get back out. So already have a retirement, possibly 2 retirements as this one continues on.
Yeah, no, I want to bring up another point here, Jonathan. I wonder perhaps if that qualifying session, when it was dark, the track temp was way down, just gave those guys maybe a false sense of security as far as the grip level goes when they were out there making those qualifying laps. And maybe that transition from dark to afternoon may have just stumped some of these drivers. They thought they were going to have a little more grip, and it just wasn't there, and that's why we've seen some of these incidents early on.
You know, I expected that to not really be a problem, but Phoenix is a pretty technical track. You got to be real easy on the throttle out of the corners, and you got to be very deliberate with trail braking in to get the most out of your turn in. And so it could be that it's just real technical, and you've got to be on the money, right on your marks every single lap. And when you get just outside of it and you try to overcorrect or compensate for a mistake, the car gets a little squirrely and around you go.
Right, and so in case if you guys watching in the live stream don't know exactly what Jonathan's talking about, he's talking about when that car loads and unloads on the suspension. When you get off the throttle and get on the brake, that's going to transition the weight balance of that race car. And the better the driver is at being smooth on those transitions and keeps that weight balance as perfectly balanced as possible on the race car, that's going to mitigate that. When you start getting a little aggressive on the brakes and on the throttle, that's when you're going to upset the balance, and that's when trouble is going to find you at Phoenix.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong around about that. But we're got about a big wiggle right there from the number 63. Wow. Held on to it, but that was quite a wiggle. He needs to regroup here, try to hold on to this position as he's under fire from Kyle Wiggins side by side coming into the corner. Wiggins can't quite slide up just yet. He might try to, but he is going to be able to make the pass. Coming up on the stage, lap 39, currently going to have another time around, and these guys are going to get a moment to have a break.
Yeah, clearly these tires are used up on these race cars based upon what I just seen from the 63 and a couple other cars on corner exit. That back end is starting to look like drift night out there on a Thursday night, and that's not what these drivers and teams want to see here out of this next-gen car, especially only 40 laps into the run.
Yeah, well, here we are now, end of stage number 1. Glenn Stanley is going to be the winner. It doesn't really do him any good. He's not a Final Four finisher, and neither of any of those guys care too much either. Running order for the Final Four at the end of the stage, Brad Lane's currently 3rd. Kyle Wiggins is in 4th. Excuse me, not Kyle Wiggins. Mike Aiello Jr. is in 6th. Chris Gilbert is 7th. Nicholas Snyder hangs on in 9th with that beat-up race car. Pit road's going to be a busy place. I'm curious to see how this shapes up here in the next couple moments.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. You couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Pit road is going to be the main attraction right now on the racetrack, or you would think. You can see here come all the leaders down pit road. Everyone's probably more than likely going to follow suit. And here comes the cavalry. You're going to start crawling down pit road at this very slow pit road speed, which I believe is 45 miles an hour. I'm not sure if they have a pit box penalty, if they can only drive through a certain amount of stalls here without going to the end of the line. That's one thing I do not know, but the 3 car is making sure he stayed right up nice against the wall as he enters his pit box. Your leader currently, he overshoots the stall just a little bit. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, as currently he's getting service performed on his race car.
Yeah, that is going to cost a little bit of time, might have some implications. What a great shot right here when you can see these drivers race off pit road. Stanley almost out front, but I think it was going to be it looks like Brad Lane got out in front of him right there. He sure did. The number 10 is going to beat Glenn Stanley off pit road. Michael Logsdon waited to come around. He's coming down pit road at this time. That's going to put Brad Lane and Glenn Stanley on the front row, getting ready for this restart.
How about that? great execution on pit road by Glenn Staley. He's got that ZL1 Camaro in the freshest air on the racetrack. When they go back to green, he's going to be your new leader. He started in the 4th place position, but how about the guy in 2nd, graded 13th, now currently showing P2, 47 of Michael Logson. He's currently in 2nd.
Michael Logson coming down pit road now, actually, so he's going to vacate that position. I think he was just waiting, trying to pit behind everybody else. I've got Brad Lane up front with Glenn Stanley. That's what looks like it's going to be the restart here. Kyle Wiggins, Jordan Tanzel, restarting 5th. Championship contender Mike Aiello Jr. Nicholas Snyder up to 6th. Going to see what he can do with that damaged race car.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that damage is going to affect the performance on that race car. If you remember, the 5 machine got in some trouble over the course of that first stage, getting in the wall twice. And then we also had another gentleman that had some issues on pit road. The 22, I believe, had issues earlier in the stage as well. When we were under our break, caution came out. The 22 had a date with the inside retaining wall, if I remember correctly, as well. So we're going to see how the adjustments and repairs affect the performance of that race car. You take a look here at the front clip of the Hendrick.com Chevrolet. The driver's side looks okay, but I'm a little worried about the hood, specifically where the air vents are in the hood, and as well as on the fender, left fender of that race car. That's definitely going to upset the aero on that car just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to allow him to continue to fight on in this one, and if you're in it, you've still got a chance to win it, because, again, you don't have to win the race, you just have to be the highest finisher of the top 4. Tried to talk to the top couple drivers in the top 4 earlier, just didn't work out. We pulled Brad in and weren't able to get in touch with him. But Brad Lane's going to be the point man as the pace car turns down. A lot like Talladega, got a long way to drive to get into the restart zone. Here we are coming into the restart zone. Brad Lane's going to be on the throttle momentarily, looking to get a big jump out over Glenn Stanley, and he does. Glenn Stanley does not get the restart he wants. Kyle Wiggins is going to go by as well. Trying to cut the dog leg is going to be Mike Aiello Jr. trying to make a big move. He's battling for the 3rd place position under Glenn Stanley into turn 1.
Some of those drivers looked like they were coming off a completely different exit of the racetrack on that restart. The 77 machine of Mike Jr., he put that car so far down on the dog leg, we didn't even see him coming out of the corner. He was so far down there using up that dog leg. But hey, that is in bounds. That's a legal move here at Phoenix. So here we go. The 51 machine, he's wasted no time trying to be aggressive on this restart of this race, because he knows there's no more stage breaks from here. So this is where I like to think we're going to start to see the intensity of this race pick up, Jonathan, as he's painting a bead all over the back of Brad Lane.
And you know, it feels kind of weird because we're not even to halfway yet and the intensity is picking up, but it really is not a long race. It's 110 laps, 110-ish miles, probably about 112 miles overall, depending how this race shakes out. But we saw Kyle Wiggins show that he had some speed earlier. And you know, something that these next-gen cars do a really good job about is being in clean air makes you faster. Now, when you see it not work out, it's normally because when you're no longer following cars in front of you, you start making mistakes. But those drivers that can run the same line when they're out front without a car to reference off of, those are the guys that really get it done. And Brad Lane's showing how to do that right now. But I'm not going to count Kyle Wiggins out or Glenn Stanley, and Mike Aiello Jr. seems to be figuring this track out more and more as it goes. He's only getting faster. Now, what I see from him, it seems like his line gets a little bit better. He's getting a little bit smoother. He's able to get around the corner better and get on the throttle pretty well. He's under siege right now from the number 63. He's going to cut the dog leg, trying to look underneath of Stanley. Not quite going to get there. This is your current battle for 3rd. Really, it's a 4-5 car battle for 3rd place between Aiello Jr., Jordan Tanzel, Stanley, Snyder, and Chris Gilbert.
Oh, that was a move that, oh my goodness, that scared the bejesus out of me. The 33 just put that dive bomb on, going down to the bottom of the racetrack as he's trying to get the preferred position here on the 5 machine. Oh, he's wiggling down on the inside. He just about lost it. What a miraculous save. That's going to take a moment to reset, catch your breath, get your eyes refocused, because that right there, I thought that had wreck written all over it, Jonathan, to be honest, but he did a masterful job of recovering that race car.
Well, in races like this, you don't really have much of a choice. If you're not driving the car to the edge of its abilities, you're not really going all that fast. I mean, there is a fine line. You can overdrive the car and not be fast, but you really have to drive to the limits of the grip on this track, and that's what you're seeing these drivers do. And the one that seems to just really be knocking that out of the park is Brad Lane, Kyle Wiggins. These two guys really getting it right. Mike Aiello Jr., number 77, that yellow and blue machine, he's up to third, but Jordan Tanzal, who has also shown a lot of speed, looking to the inside of him. They're side by side just past the start-finish line a couple moments ago. He's going to make the pass pretty easy. The 5 getting into the back of the number 77 right there. These are two championship contenders. What's the 5 going to do here to get by? Showing some speed again, even after the damage. Rather surprising, but he has a little bit of speed. Under siege from the 13, so I can't imagine he's going to be very patient with the 77.
No, he doesn't look like he's going to be patient with the 77. Judging by the chrome bumper, the chrome horn, he gave him the old hello out there on the racetrack, letting him know that he was there. But here's the going back to what you said about this race car, Jonathan, being very aero sensitive. It's one thing to catch the car in front of you. The other part is passing them, and some of these drivers are better at it than others, but you can actually defensively use the air from your car against and impede the performance of that race car trying to make the pass. And that's the other side of this. And I can guarantee you from what I've been seeing, the 10 of Brad Lee knows how to do that. And also, I've seen it a couple times now, Nick Snyder also knows how to use the air against the other drivers out there on the racetrack. And I think that's why you're seeing the 77 making it so hard for the 5 to get by.
Now, these two drivers are really trying anything they can, and it's really kind of stalling their performance. And, you know, sometimes you look at two cars and you wonder, well, if y'all stop fighting, can y'all get further forward and gain some time? But that's just not really in the nature of race car drivers. It's always get past the driver in front of you. You're not always looking at the bigger picture, and I mean, except for perhaps on super speedways. But in this situation, these two guys want to be in front of the other, because we've already seen single car spins, a couple of them, including Nicholas Snyder, but you want to be in front of as many of your championship contenders as possible, because you just don't know what's going to happen up here towards the front with Brad Lane and Kyle Wiggins. They could easily collide, removing Brad Lane from the race, and you want to be in control of the championship when that happens.
Exactly right, Jonathan. The championship is all about that control. Being able to have control over that chessboard, all those chess piece moves as you will. When you're out front like 10 car, you're pretty much the head guy in charge. You're dictating what everyone else behind you is trying to do to catch you, and there's no better spot out there than being on point. Kyle Wiggins, however, he's holding about a 0.4 of a second deficit behind the 10 machine. Again, almost mirroring his line around the racetrack. Just probably trying to learn from him a little bit, trying to see where he's faster, maybe what he can do to pick up a little ground on him, maybe on corner entry, corner exit. He's doing a lot of studying. I guarantee you that's what the 51 of Kyle Wiggins is doing right now. He's just studying that 10 car, looking to see what he can put in his back pocket for later in the race.
Got a driver coming down pit road. That's the number 01 of Travis Bennett. Apologize, kind of getting away from your train of thought right there, but thought maybe there's a little bit of strategy going on pitting now. Perhaps you can pretty much make it to the end of this run, but you need a little bit of fuel, so perhaps those guys are pitting now as opposed to later. We're going to see how that works out. I figure you more or less want to split this final stage personally, but you know, I don't drive these cars. I haven't driven with these drivers, and I also don't know the nature of the rest of this race.
And that's exactly it. There's a lot of unknowns that we're unfortunately against here, Jonathan, just because we don't have the ability to watch all these awesome this awesome series compete day in and day out. But I'm very thankful to be here for their championship race. You would think, well, we're at lap 60, right? So I believe this is a 120 lap race. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you would be right on splitting the difference. But I don't know if these drivers have 100% fuel load or if they're running a reduced fuel limit. So I don't know what, if you can run 60 laps on this racetrack on a full tank of gas or not. I'm not that fast with the next-gen car in this racetrack either. But I guess maybe in this case, with his activity on pit road, we just might find out how far you can go if this race does stay green.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident at 100% fuel these guys can make it to the end. But again, I don't know what their fuel load is. We're on lap 62 of 110, so a little bit past halfway. Pretty decent racing going on, and I just did it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to build, someone's gonna have to design me a shirt, Matt. You weren't there for it, but the running joke in our corporation or our company now is decent. That's a decent idea. Apparently I throw that out there a lot, and I've been trying not to use the word decent anymore, but it's just decided to rear its ugly head in the middle of this broadcast, and oh man, talk about a mistake right there.
Well, as long as we don't use the all-inclusive A word, right? I mean, that's the word no one wants to hear as far as on the corporate side of the spectrum goes. We don't want to use the A word. So decent, okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, absolutely don't want to use absolutely or the word decent.
As long as you said it, that's okay.
So pet peeve of mine, folks, being a chief cook bottle washer. I don't remember who gave me that nickname. I think it was Greg, teammate Greg. He's on a race right now. We got four other shows this evening, by the way, if you don't have anything else to do, or you're looking for another thing to watch. But anyhow, it just really bothers me when we use the word absolutely, and it's now kind of the running thing. Now our team has to use that regularly against me. And hopefully, maybe one of these days it'll go away, but I don't think it is. I think it's here to stay, unfortunately.
The more you talk about it and it just gets in your head, somehow, one way or another, it just comes out of your mouth real time on the broadcast. But hopefully I don't slip and make that mistake tonight. So as you said, he's the chief bottle washer. I'm his environmental beautification engineer, and I know that sounds snazzy. It's not. I basically take out that man's trash.
Oh, man.
But hey, it sounded cool, though, right? It's all about presentation. Just like that LI car right there, out there on the racetrack, that 63 machine. He's hunting right now, started position 2. Still currently shown in the second position. He fell back a little bit on that later part of the first run there in the first stage. He's made his way back up to where he started. Not quite a full second off the lead race car driver, Brad Lee. But the car looks balanced. Corner entry, rolling the corner really well. Seems to be coming off the corner exit just fine. The car does not look upset. And I would say that LA car is performing pretty good right now. See if he has some late run speed, he can go up there and get Brad Lane.
Yeah, we're going to see what the last 50 laps of this one hold for us here shortly. I think that we are going to see some pitting towards the end of it. They all pitted in lap 40. So, I mean, even if they don't need fuel, they're going to need tires at some point in this one. So looking forward to see how that goes. We're going to take a quick pause here. You're still going to be able to see the racing, but we'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back 75 laps of 110 underway. Just completed lap 75 of 110. Brad Lane still out front. Second and a half over Nicholas Snyder, the machine that we saw have trouble. He's found some speed kind of late, matching lap time for lap time with the leader. Our other two contenders, Chris Gilbert's in sixth, and Mike Aiello Jr. just pitted. He pitted on lap 61. Here comes Chris Gilbert. So now we have our answer. You had to pit at least one more time.
Oh, and he locks up the left front tire there right at the commitment cone. Hopefully not going to see a speeding penalty. That would be disastrous, especially if this race stays green. But I'll tell you what, Jonathan, I am impressed by the drive, the refuse to lose by that 5 car out there on the racetrack. I thought he was just about done, game over after that second hit on the wall. And believe it or not, this man has put that car, hooked it up on a missile, and he is up to the second place position. And the car is running very competitive lap times.
And you know, I thought perhaps maybe the track was a little bit of a handful for him and the car was a little bit more of a handful than he accounted for. But something has changed. If there was a problem, it's now fixed. It's no longer an issue because he's running P2, matching lap times with the race leader. That last one, he was a tenth of a second off, but he's pretty quick. Now, coming up behind him is the number 77. That's Mike Aiello Jr. He's short-pitted these leaders, so he's trying to drive and get his lap back. I don't expect him to be very patient with the 5. This is a pretty bold move by the 5 right here, staying in the way. He's slowing them down, and you know, they're racing right now. Yes, the number 77 is a lap down. Yes, he's trying to get his lap back, but by holding him up that couple seconds, that might make the difference later when these green flag pit stops cycle through. So obviously, the number 77, that's Mike Aiello, however I pronounce it, Jr. Excuse me. He is on the earlier stop, and here comes the number 5. I think he looks kind of fast. Whoa, and that machine right there. Kyle Wiggins in the 51 trying to follow him suit. He almost hit that barrier right there. I mean, that looked really fast to me coming down pit road.
Yeah, he almost turned the pit lane into the water buffalo lodge. Those barrels are filled with water, and you hit that, and that's going to end the day of that race car. Trust me, I've done that several times. But the 5 machine, he's coming down pit road, which should, for all intents and purposes, be the final stop. Oh, he's got to put it in reverse. He overslid the pit box. That's going to cost him a couple tenths, at least at a minimum. But getting back to that altercation we had on the racetrack with the 5 machine and the 77, I got to believe that was a miscommunication. The spotter on the 5 just probably didn't see him. I bet you the 5 was focused on maintaining his rhythm, hitting his marks on the racetrack, and didn't know the 77 was behind him. I can't anticipate or fathom as to why he would want to purposely keep the 77 behind him out there on the racetrack.
No, it's not really my job to disagree with you, Matt, but those guys are competing for the championship, and every second, even though Aiello Jr. was a lap down, is behind the 5 car, he's slower on the track. So he slowed him up. Now if you take a look at the lead, because of the short pitting, Mike Aiello Jr., first time out front in that number 77 machine. He's got 13 lap older tires, but he's got a 6.5 second gap from him back to Glenn Stanley. I think the number 5 car knew exactly what he was doing when he was trying to keep the number 77 behind him. If he did not do that, I bet this gap is closer to 10 seconds, not 6.
And on that side of the coin, you know what, Jonathan, that is also a possibility. I guess I'm just looking at this from my perspective if I'm in that race car. I've already had contact with that race car 2 times. I got it running good. Why am I going to want to put myself in a position where the 77 is going to get upset or impatient and send me around again? However, very plausible with your explanation. Maybe at the end of this race, if he's in the top 3, if he brings it home, we'll have a chance to ask him. But I'm just putting it into my perspective as if I was inside that race car. But hey, you know what? Maybe you're the you're the HMFIC. So we're going to go with what you said.
It's just my best guess. If I'm racing, I'm the 5 machine. I'm not giving the 77 a free pass. It's his job to get around me. It is. Now, it is also his prerogative if he wants to use the bumper to get around me. And I have to be ready for that. And that has to be okay. I'm fighting him with fire, so he can fight with fire back by using the bumper. That gap now, though, number 77 to second place, Glenn Stanley, it's down to 3 3/4 of a second. But the gap from Mike Aiello Jr. to Chris Gilbert, who's currently second in the running order for the championship 4, is still 5.5 seconds. So I don't think this was a race-winning move, but I think this was an opportunity to make the guys behind him have to chase him down. And it worked out for him because he's out front. He's in the clean air. So now it's manage your mistakes. And as long as he's out front, I think this gap is pretty manageable. He's only about 6/10 of a second slower than Chris Gilbert. And 30 laps to go, yeah, I guess he should be able to get there, but I think it's going to be close. And I could be very, very wrong. It depends on if he's going to keep that speed difference up. Obviously, he's got to get to him and pass him. The gap is now down to only 4 seconds. But 30 laps to go, he's going to have to get moving.
No, you're right. He is going to have to get moving. And the other side of that, how much of his tires, the Dr. Feelgoods, Glenn going to have to use to get back in a position to make a move on the 77 machine? That's the other part of this. Again, everything changes. I don't want to use the dreaded C word, but if that was to happen and come out, that changes the entire complexity of the race. But the way it sits right now, I mean, wow. I mean, the 3 car just really took a nasty bite out of that interval, that lap. He's cut it down to under 2 seconds. He is coming in a hurry, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I want to correct myself. 20 laps to go when we get to the end of this next time by. It'll only be 20. Lap 90 of 110. The 3 car is coming. However, if he passes the leader, it doesn't have championship implications, just race winning implications. But I want to mention the second that he passes the leader, now the leader, and number 77, that's Mike Aiello Jr., he's going to be in dirty air. I think a reason why that gap just dropped so much is because of that lapped machine right there. I think that's number 47. As you're seeing Glenn Stanley try to cut the corner here to make a move. It's not quite going to be enough. Aiello Jr. at this point just needs to run his race the best he can. It looks like, is he coming down pit road here?
Coming down pit road. He's decided, I don't like this strategy. I'm coming down pit road. I'm going to get another set of tires put on this race car. But he probably just seen how much faster the 3 and the rest of the guys were coming and just made a judgment call and said, yep, that's not going to work. But yeah, here he comes down pit road. He's going to come around, make the turn, and he's going to set his sights on for his crew to get 4 tires put on that Ford Mustang.
I just can't imagine doing this. We're going to see if he's just going to get fuel or if he's taking tires as well.
He's got to be taking
tires. Maybe he was short. I don't know. I don't understand the call. It's something that we're going to have to ask him. I'd like to try to get a word in with each of the 4 contenders at the end of this one. That puts Brad Lane back out front, however. Nicholas Snyder, kind of like the fly that just showed up and won't go away, you know. Had damage early, running P2 now. Got around Glenn Stanley. Almost matching lap times with Brad Lane. Nicholas Snyder's got 18 laps to see if he can't run Brad Lane down. And if he gets there, I mean, what does he do? Does he try to pass him clean, or this is just virtual. You're not going to hurt anybody. You might hurt someone's pride or hurt your image, but what will you do to get by this guy to try to win this race? First of all, you got to catch him, though.
Well, okay, Jonathan, so here's my turn to disagree with you. Yes, you're right. You're not going to physically hurt him, but you're darn right that's going to hurt out there on the racetrack. It's a championship round. You're going for broke right now. And if that guy goes ahead and gets around you, yeah, that's going to hurt. I'm going to take that personally if it's me inside that race car driver. So if I'm the 10, if I'm inside that race car, I'm going to do everything I can to keep that 5 car behind me. However, getting back to the 5, Jonathan, I want to throw this out there. We've seen sometimes in some of these races where a driver hits the car against the wall a certain way, and for whatever reason, the car's performance improved. Is it possible maybe that just one of these instances, however he came in contact with the wall, now that the repairs have been done, is giving him some type of an aerodynamic advantage? Because, I mean, his pace has really picked up and it has stayed consistent.
You know, that's possible. I think we'd be giving the iRacing engineers a lot of credit for that one. And I guess they could have coded that into the game here. Or, excuse me, I just said the G word. The game, the sim. They could have coded that into the sim. But it's possible that the way the air is hitting this car and going around that right side has created a little bit more downforce for this driver. And also, I think he just kind of figured the track out. But try to get a view again. Try to take a look at the left front, or excuse me, the right front. And you can see a little bit of where it is, where the bumper would be. Obviously, it's a clip in this car. Kind of right there where it looks to be a little bit different as opposed to the left front. Well, maybe not so much. But I'm not going to disagree with you. I think you're on to something, that him getting into the wall, as you can see the crinkle right there for sure, and the way it kicked out as he kisses the wall right there, it kind of kicks out that front end a little bit. That might have made a difference here.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could, and again, I'm not familiar with what changes to the race car are allowed on pit road. But, I mean, that car was a handful for that gentleman before he got into the wall the first time. And then he got into it again and his hands were full. And ever since this guy has came out of the pits, it's just been a completely different car. You might as well have reskinned it and put an entire different paint job on it, because I never would have thought he would be up here in P2 putting on the drive that he is right now. Hats off to this guy.
Yeah, he's really doing everything that he has to do, trying to wrap around the corner right here. He's still, for the most part, matching lap times, but he's just a little bit slower every lap. Just a little bit, not a lot, but while you're not making a difference, it's just not going to help you. Now, I want to go back right here to Aiello Jr. He's running 8th. He's super fast on the track. Significantly faster than everybody else. He's going to have to try to come unlap himself. He might be in a really good position if a caution were to come out. Stay out on the track. Yes, you'll be on older tires, but see if you can't get around twice, being really, really aggressive. But I want to know what happened there. Why he came down pit road? Maybe he didn't get enough fuel in it the first time, or perhaps he just realized that he pitted too soon. As we're down to 9 laps to go, Brad Lane's out in front here. Brad Lane's also a Championship 4 contender. And, I also want to mention one more thing about these drivers. I didn't talk too much about it. Brad Lane has 24 starts, 3 poles, 5 wins, finished in the top 5 16 times, and in the top 10 21 times. So he's been...
Guy's a wheel, man.
Yeah, he's been awfully dominant. Now, to give you some more insight, Nick Snyder, 34 starts, whole season, 9 poles, 11 wins, 27 top 5s, 30 top 10s. So that's the difference kind of separating these drivers right here. So if you go by that metric, you really think that Snyder's the favorite here. This just seems to be a Brad Lane style track, and it just must be a track that's mostly suited for him, as he's got a 1.5 seconds over Nick Snyder. At this point, Nicholas really is going to just need, I don't want to say it, but some help with the caution, or something's going to have to happen. Brad Lane's going to have to miss a corner, miss it really bad, get into the wall, get on the throttle a little bit too much. But at this point, he's kind of gap managing for the next 6 laps.
And that's right. And this is a very critical mental time for the driver of that 10 car. You're at 5 laps to go. 5 times around this racetrack is going to feel like an eternity to this 10 car. The laps are going to just crawl by. You want that spotter, that crew chief, being that voice of reason to that driver. Stay calm. You have no pressure anywhere around you. Just keep your lap times consistent. Don't do anything drastic, and pray that a caution does not come out, because if that doesn't happen in 3 to 4 laps from now, you're going to be holding the championship trophy here when it's all said and done.
Yeah, you're right about that. Just showing Chris Gilbert here had a little bit of a wiggle right there. In fact, you can see damage on that left rear of his machine. Not too sure exactly what happened there, and fortunately I don't have any history showing an option for us to go back and see it. Currently running 7th, and he's 7th. Mike Aiello Jr. is running 8th. Aiello Jr. still having not unlapped himself, but you see him right here behind that 5 machine trying to get around him. It's not really for position. I don't expect to see any battling going on here. It's a little bit too late. I thought Aiello Jr. might have had a winning strategy, and it's just not going to work out. It's just coming to 2 laps to go, it's just dominating race by Brad Lane, and we're still seeing that. It's just nothing really short of domination. We saw some shimmers of hope by Nicholas Snyder, Glenn Stanley, but just kind of like in the real life event recently, Brad Lane came in and just never gave up control of the race, and that's the only way to put it.
And if we go back again at the start of the broadcast, that was one of our keys to winning the race, maintaining that control and how important that control is. And Brad and his team have just executed in every phase of the race tonight. And you know what? They deserve to win this race. And comes, I believe, as he comes across the start-finish line here, one more time down the backstretch. He's going to arc it into the corner, round 2-3. He's going to rotate the apex of the corner, start to throttle off, and coming off of turn 4 to take the checkered flag. It's going to be your winner, your championship winner, I believe, as well. The 10 car of Brad Lane. Job well done, sir. You earned it tonight.
Yeah, nothing short of domination. We're going to expect him to burn it down here. We're going to try to get a quick word in with each of our 4 contenders. Brad Lane finishes first. Nicholas Snyder, runner-up in the race, runner-up in the championship. I mean, you have to win the race to win the championship in these kind of formats. Jordan Tanzel finishes 3rd. Kyle Wiggins is 4th. Daniel Carter rounds out the top 5. So we're going to try to get a quick word in with a couple of these guys. And you know, Matt, if you don't mind, if you would try to go have a word in with grab Chris Gilbert and see if he's ready for a post-race interview, and then join me back up here with him at that time, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And so, folks, as Brad Lane's going to come down here by the start-finish line, he's going to start accelerating this machine left to the right, smoke flying, because he is your season champion. Very long season, I believe 34 races for this crew. We've had the pleasure of broadcasting 10 to 12 of them. Each one of them I've heard great things about. I haven't done one personally, so it's awesome to be here for the championship. Several members of our team here at SRM have broadcasted these shows, and they all seem to really enjoy them. Pretty impressed with the racing. I thought there would be some competitiveness. We saw domination by Brad Lane. Nicholas Snyder having trouble early, manages to overcome that trouble. Finishing P2, I thought he was going to have was going to be able to give Brad Lane a run for his money, but it just was not meant to be. And Matt, there he is. Matt, did you get in touch with any of our other drivers?
I got Brad Lane in the booth with us right now as we speak.
Well, Brad, congratulations. Great job dominating fashion for winning this race. Coming into this one, what did you do what you needed to do? What did you think you needed to do to win the championship, and how did you pull that off?
Yeah, so can you guys hear me?
I've got you loud and clear.
Yeah, so actually, I got on during the week and actually ran some laps for once. I'm not good at short tracks, not good at heavy braking zones. Decent here, but just never been one of my favorite tracks. But so I kind of just owe it all to practicing, just running, 15, 20 laps here and there. And, I know Nick got into some trouble, and really track position was really huge for this race, starting on the pole. I think that was the difference maker.
We got to give you credit. You're doing this interview while driving right now. We're looking at you coming down the front stretch right here, going down pit road. So really, congratulations, good job. And something I want to ask, for somebody that might be new to the sport of iRacing, what do you think they need to do to get faster? Because you see a lot of guys, they'll be on the service for years, and they kind of plateau and they don't get faster from there. What would your keys be to that success?
Really just be patient. Don't try to climb to the top really fast. I mean, I kind of peaked in those official races, pretty quick, and then I sort of plateaued, and then I realized that league racing was a lot of fun, racing with the same guys in and out. Upgrade your sim equipment when you can, and don't overdrive the car. Those are my couple things, or couple pointers.
All right, folks, you heard it there. Championship winner Brad Lane, wise words by him. So just take your time on the service. Congrats, Brad. Thanks for talking to us. I hope you enjoy your night. You put on a dominating fashion. We're going to send you on back down, and we're going to get a couple words in with the other four.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate y'all covering this. It's been a good year. Thanks for Eric putting the league together and kind of managing it. But a lot of clean drivers in here. It was fun racing with the other three guys and the other guys that didn't make the Final Four. So overall good year, and was able to recap it, cap it off with a championship.
And there you have it, folks. Excellent run for Brad Lane. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right,
again,
Matt.
Jonathan, I was just saying, hats off to Brad Lane. He just drove a perfect, flawless race. Was able to maintain control. And like, we saw last night, getting back to our other broadcast, track position was paramount, and that was also a big factor in the race tonight. Congratulations to Brad. He even gave us his keys to success, if you will, in iRacing. Just want to say, congratulations to him, and hopefully he's going to go and enjoy that with his team.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a good job. And Matt, have you got a runner-up, finisher, runner-up in the race, runner-up in the championship? Nick Snyder with you now.
Nick Snyder, Matt Metler up in the booth. You got me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was quite a run by you tonight, Nick. Early on, you had some trouble. You got into the wall. Looked like maybe you just picked up the throttle a little too soon on corner exit. And then later on in the first stage, you caught the wall again. You come down pit road, and when you come off of pit road, it looked like you had a completely brand new race car. That car was smooth. It was fast. You put on an impressive drive coming up to P2, starting 6th. What did you guys do to that race car on pit road that made that thing come to life?
I mean, I asked a couple members what were their lap times in the beginning when I got the wall the second time, and the car wasn't really hurt because I was actually just a tad faster than what the leader was running. I still had 50 seconds of optional repairs. I just chose not to take it because track position is key, and it's just kind of a sloppy beginning from qualifying to about halfway of the race.
Well said, Nick. Completely understand what you're saying there. So you elected not even to fix the damage on the race car. That's how confident you were out on the racetrack. You come home P2, start P6, runner up here tonight. Who do you want to thank on your team?
Just, family and friends, and, my agent that is watching. He texted me halfway during the race, just give me times and stuff. And just thought by pitting the tad early would give me that advantage to get out in front of Brad to try to, where he goes, I can take his line away and stuff. Because air is crucial here, and he did what he needed to do, by qualifying on the pole and staying up out front, getting that clean air, and I was playing to catch up game all night. But congratulations to Brad.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, I had a chance to look at your stats over the course of this season, and I mean, you got something to smile about and hang your head high on. I mean, you've had a ton of poles, a lot of success, wins, consistent top 5s and top 10s. I mean, I know it's not what you wanted, just coming up a little bit short, but at the end of the day, man, I think you put on a heck of a show and did everyone in the series proud of the performance you put on all season long, sir.
Thank you. Hopefully it was a good one to watch from the other side.
No, this was my first opportunity to watch you guys out there on the racetrack, and I hope I get to call more of your racing because it was a lot of exciting racing out there on the racetrack. I certainly enjoyed it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Nick Snyder. Comes up just a little bit short, position number 2, looking for just a little bit more, and you betcha he'll be ready to reset and re-rack him as he goes back to racing when the next season unfolds.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, excellent interviews. Unfortunately, we're not going to get an opportunity to talk with the rest of the Final Four, being Chris Gilbert and ILO Jr. We're standing by for a couple moments to see if Eric, league admin, the man who makes this series run, seeing if he wants to say a few words. I'm giving him just a couple moments here, and then we'll try to bring him in. So give us just a couple moments, and we'll be right back for some final words for the GUNR4sR series of racing. Ladies and gentlemen, now with Matt and I in the booth is the one and the only, we're just call him Eric. He's the one who makes this league work. He's ran it all season. He reached out to us to make sure we could bring these shows to you guys. Eric, awesome season. Thanks for letting us be a part of it. The floor is now yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for helping us out. I think you guys did probably a half a dozen races with us this year. One more tomorrow night, Truck Series Championship. Looking forward to that. You guys do a great job every night. You guys have done it for us. We run close to 100 races every year, and we can't broadcast them all, but we wanted to reach out to you guys and see at least do some of the important ones like the championship race here tonight. And so thank you. And yeah, it was a great season. We had a lot of really good contenders. Playoffs this year, pretty much anyone in the playoffs could have walked away with championship, and I think the best 4 were the best 4 all year. But yeah, we had a lot of great drivers in the Cup Series this year, and it was a great year.
I go ahead and I would agree to that. I think the top 4, based on the graphic you gave us with the wins and the poles and the top 10s, and a couple of them finishing outside the top 10 3 times out of the course of every race they were in. That's really incredible. Appreciate you letting us do this. And something I want to point out on this race is, not everybody can finish first, second, and third. And you guys had a pretty good sized field, especially for a race like this in the championship. But what wasn't really shown was that the times that these drivers were running and how they were running is the entire league is relatively competitive. It's not like you've got a couple ringers that are superstars and then a whole bunch of guys that'll never compete with them at all. I'm seeing some pretty quick lap times and some really good racing in this league, which makes things very competitive and very fun. So kudos to you for putting that together. Excellent job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's this league. We probably have 2 or 3 guys that like Nick Snyder. He won a bunch of races this year, but Mike and Brad, they won a bunch of races too. So, but yeah, I think each night it isn't just a couple guys that are going to win all the races. Everybody has a pretty good shot at pulling off a win. I won a couple races this year that I had absolutely no idea I was going to pull them off on that race night. I mean, you just never know. We have a lot of great talent in this league, and with the fixed setup, it kind of just becomes whoever can adjust best to the setup, and whoever can pull out in front of everybody else in the league.
All right, well, we appreciate the words, and folks, that's Eric, league admin, does an excellent job here. If you're looking for a league and you watch the show, I would get in touch with these guys, and we gave them a shout out on our Facebook page earlier, so if you're looking to reach out to them, you can find the link there or on this broadcast. Eric, I hope you have a great night, and thanks again.
Yep, thank you both. Looking forward to tomorrow night too.
Yeah, sounds good. I believe Mike Damoni is going to be back on that show. He does an excellent job, not as rusty as I am. So I finally look forward to an opportunity to watch some racing, and I'll be tuning into that one myself. All right, Matt, so that's the end of this one. We had some words with the top 2 and Eric Schuer, the admin of the series. Now time to go through the final rundown before we wrap this one up.
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan. Let's go ahead and run down the finishing order one more time here. So your championship winner, your race winner tonight, doubling down on everything win-related. Brad Lane in the 10 car coming home second. Nick Snyder just a little bit short in that 5 machine. Your third place finisher, Jordan Tanzel. Fourth place belongs to Kyle Wiggins. Fifth place, Dan Carter. Sixth, Glenn Staley. Seventh, Chris Elbert. Eighth, Mike Algello. And ninth, Michael Lodstrom. And 10th place, that's going to be the 22 of Eric Schneer. 11th place belonging to Travis Bennett. The 12th place car, the 92 of Richard Mueller. The 13th, the 29 machine of Reggie Packard. And coming home 14th tonight, certainly last but not least, that is Jimmy Green.
And I want to mention, I think Jimmy Green might have been running race control. I couldn't tell you for sure. He didn't run a single lap. But Jimmy, thank you for what you do. Thanks for being here, whether that's for race control or a start and park. Everybody, I hope you have a great night. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the championship truck series race for this same group. I hope you all have a great night. Thanks for being a part of our evening. This is Jonathan Leach, joined with Matthew Metler. Thank you from everybody at Sim Racing Media.